The magic of difference highlights on the transportation system that London has. They have a complex subway system of what they call the tube, and it is as complex as you could say the nervous system. They also had very small streets that cars or buses would drive on, whereas in Iowa we have large highways. You could find a bus for public transportation within our cities like Des Moines, but mostly people have their own cars and travel on their own to work, whereas in London it is very common to travel with the public transportation system. The next magic that I found was Muggle magic within Edinburgh, Scotland. Layden and I went to a tattoo parlor, or tattoo studio as it's named here, for Lane to have a tattoo of his grandfather's last name on his wrist. We found that both the tattoo artist and his assistant had the hardest Scottish accents I ever heard yet on this trip.
But I don't have it with me.
Fair enough. The Palmer's cocoa butter will be absolutely fine. It's just a moisturiser, but it's naturally oily, so it doesn't dry out too quickly.
Okay.
The artist was kind and fun to talk to, even though Lane and I had some time to understand what he was fully saying. But it was fun nonetheless. And his artistry was plastered all over the walls within his studio. On our first day in England, and specifically London, we were traveling over to Westminster Abbey, the famous church. And although Westminster Abbey was really cool, and I felt a religious force within that church when I was in there, sadly they didn't allow photography or videography. But the magic of discovery that I'm highlighting is right after we were leaving that, I just so happened to randomly meet up with some of my friends from Drum Corps, Maya and Elijah. It was just so surprising and magical at the same time. 30 million people live in London and 7 billion people live on the planet, and it just so happens that I meet up with friends that I've known for years just randomly on the streets of London. That was amazing. And then later on, I met up with my British friend Josh that is also from Drum Corps, the Colts. And we had a couple beers at the pub that our group ate at that evening. And we just caught up, talked about the differences between the US and the UK. He recommended me a bunch of stuff to do during the UK. And then later on, right after he left and after a couple beers, Maya and Elijah entered into the pub because I talked with them before. And we had another couple beers, just conversing and heartwarmingly catching up on how life is and all the memories that we shared. So the magic of discovery is me meeting friends that never thought I would really meet again, but just out of random just met and got to converse again. On our fourth day, we had a private bus tour going to Stonehenge and the Roman bath in Bath. This is what I would highlight as my magic of nature, because Stonehenge is a legend that no one knows the answers to. It's a mystery, and I was actually pleasantly surprised when we got there, because I've seen Stonehenge in movies and TV shows, other sorts of media, but never in real life, and it's actually bigger than I thought it was, like as tall as a first floor building. The Roman bath is another highlight of magic of nature because it's a watering hole that has been there for centuries and has always been hot, with hardly any explanation other than it travels from deep within the core of the planet. Day 4 is all encompassing our magic of nature. Last but not least, our magic of change involves what is currently going on socially, physically, economically, and politically, the changes that are going on in the UK. In the fall of 2019, UK had an election and the Conservative Party had a victory, winning majority of Parliament, along with Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister and a continuous debate on Brexit. I'm not the best at geopolitical issues, and I'm not knowledgeable on Brexit or the EU, so I don't really know what's going on there, but it is a change that is going on. There is also a change of the crown. Since marrying Meghan Markle, Prince Harry has stepped down from the crown and from the royal responsibilities and wants to move to America, whether that be Canada or the United States, with his wife Meghan, and that has sparked some controversy within the royal family, but nonetheless, Queen Elizabeth has granted Harry and Meghan that freedom. Parliament and Big Ben are undergoing serious renovations as well, as seen through the rafters and construction surrounding the building. And so that is a physical, social, economic, and political change that's going on in the UK.